Okay, so before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that the University of Windsor campus sits on the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations, which includes the Ojibwa, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi. We respect the longstanding relationships with First Nations people in this place in the 100-mile Windsor-Essex Peninsula and the Straits Les Detroits of Detroit. We at Continuing Education acknowledge the systemic oppression and generational trauma that impacts Indigenous communities today. We vow to learn about Indigenous history and complex systems of colonialism that has caused these traumas and the results of its influence as it relates to the world we live in today. We will then seek opportunities to raise awareness of the knowledge that we've gained through continued learning. So it's important to note that it is also Treaties Recognition Week, so November 5th to 11th here in Ontario this week. So I invite you to learn about the University of Windsor's Indigenous initiatives in the website below. So just going through the agenda today. I will be introducing our guest speaker, Kevin Aguanno. We're going to be talking about the Accelerated Project Management Certificate and the PMP Exam Prep course that we have, and then we'll dive into the Q&A. So with that, so both the Accelerated Project Management and the PMP Exam Prep course are delivered in partnership with Procept Associates Ltd, a registered education provider licensed by Project Management Institute. So today, the president of Procept, Kevin Aguanno, is here to talk about some of these programs. With over 25 years of experience managing complex systems, integration, and software development projects, Kevin is known in the industry for his innovative approaches to solving common project management problems. Kevin is a PMI certified PMP, and his competency is certified by IBM as a certified executive project manager and by the International Project Management Association, IPMA, as a senior project manager. So we're happy to have him as one of our trainers in the Windsor's project management program as well. Kevin also is the author of 30 books, audiobooks, and DVDs, in addition to a number of articles published in magazines and journals worldwide, among many other exciting accreditations and accolades. So with that, I will let you take it from there, Kevin.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. So as you heard, I'm well connected in the project management community. And in fact, I've been doing projects across all different kinds of industries. I've worked on construction projects, software development projects like you heard, mergers and acquisitions, marketing campaign development, fundraising campaigns. I've worked on organizational change and process development projects, R&D. I've worked on all kinds of projects across pretty much all industries, government, private sector, nonprofit. So I've got a wide range of backgrounds, so I can answer your questions if you have any about this and how it applies to you and in your circumstance. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen now and switch over to my presentation. Can you see my presentation slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. So I'm just going to go through a few slides trying to set the stage. The landscape of project management certifications is confusing, to say the least. There are lots of them, and this is only just a little sampling of the kinds of certifications that are available just in the Canadian marketplace. There's probably double this out there in Canada. These are just some of the major ones. So it can confuse people quite a bit about what all this means and what's available. As I said, there's a little bit about me and my background. You've already heard some of the details already. So let's talk about project management certification overall. PMI, years ago, created something. PMI is the Project Management Institute. They're one of the international standards bodies for project management. They started in the US and they've been trying to grow internationally. There are other standards bodies that are international out there that are more global in nature than PMI, but PMI is the big force in North America because they started in the US. And they created this idea of a talent triangle. And the talent triangle says to be a good project manager, you need three things. You need some technical project management skills or skills about the process of project management, things like how to schedule work, how to understand and manage risk, how to deal with stakeholders, right? So there's project management specific skills. But you also need some strategic and business management skills. You need some knowledge about the business environment because our organizational context affects how we run the projects. So there may be industry standards you have to follow or certain laws that you have to follow in your industry, right, that affect you that you need to understand. And there's general business knowledge we should know as project managers that aren't specific to project management, like understanding contracts a little bit, how, a little bit about contract law, a little bit about understanding financial statements so we can understand the books for my project, right? We can understand the charges. So we should understand a little bit about project management specific skills and a little bit about general business knowledge. And we also need people skills, leadership skills, soft skills, things like communication skills, critical thinking skills, decision making, creative problem solving, all these kinds of soft skills and leadership skills, we've grouped those in together. So PMI says you need process, business environment, and people skills, or technical, strategic, and leadership skills, depending which version of the talent triangle you're looking at. And that's been a consistent message of them for years, right? PMs, we need these three areas to be effective in our jobs. And in fact, PMI's research says that of the three areas, it's these soft skills, these leadership skills that are the most important when looking at contributors to success. So at the lower levels of the career, of your profession, when you're starting out in your career, you're going to rely mostly on your technical project management skills. You're going to be worrying about scheduling and getting procurement handled and getting all that stuff sorted out. As you move up the career ladder, you start to rely more and more on these leadership skills to make you successful. The technical skills at that point are a given. We know everybody should have them, and we start to leverage the strategic and business management skills and the leadership skills to differentiate ourselves. And certainly when you work on bigger and more complex projects, that strategic and business management aspect and the leadership aspect becomes much more enhanced in terms of what's needed to make that project succeed. So we need to look at these soft skills as well. We can't ignore these. Now let's look at how University of Windsor has crafted their accelerated PM certificate program to address this need for these three areas. It's a 9-day program. There's 9 full days of training. Now, if you're in the classroom, it's a full day in the classroom, but a lot of the courses are online these days, and nobody wants to sit online for a full day in front of a screen. That's going to drive us nuts. So we split that into half days, right? So 9 full days or 18 half days. Some of these courses are, when they're delivered online, is split in these half-day modules. And that's typically an hour of interactive learning, then a 10, 15-minute break, then another hour of learning, another break, and then the final hour of learning, and then you're done for that online module. That piece is done. So here's how it's been structured. It starts with a 3-day course, or 6 half days, called Project Management Essentials. And this course teaches the fundamental basics of project management, the stuff that you need to know. It talks about those PM technical skills. It might touch on a little bit of the business knowledge, but it's because that's different for each area. It really only addresses ethics and a little bit about some elements around procurement that you might need to know. But most of it is really focused on the technical skills because that's what PMs need to get started in those first 3 days. That's a sort of a prerequisite to move on. It gives you the overview of the project life cycle. How do we start a project? How do we execute a project, the middle part of the project, make it happen? And then how do we close up or wrap up a project at the end? It covers that whole project life cycle at a fairly high level. Then we jump into 5 days of core, more in-depth training. So we have one on called Introduction to Agile Project Management. And this explains there's different ways of tackling a project. There's a more linear sequential way. We do everything in order in a certain series of steps and it'll get done. But then there's this new agile approach, which is more iterative. It kind of loops through things and gathers feedback and adjusts and adapts as we go. Very common in some types of projects like software development, or for example, very heavily reliant on agile approaches. But it's also used in other industries, including construction and other industries. So we'll talk about what agile project management looks like. That's a one-day module, right? So it's a 1 day or 2 half-day components that gets added onto the PM Essentials to drive into these different approaches to project management. We have an extra whole day just on that leadership side, on that one skill of communications and stakeholder management. Because I was told once years ago that communications is the bulk of the project manager's job. Honestly, I probably spend 70–80% of my day communicating the status of projects to stakeholders, or communicating their issues to my team, or trying to get people together to resolve a communications conflict. My communication skills are probably the bulk of my job as a more senior executive project manager. And stakeholder management. Stakeholders are the people who are going to be funding my project, the people who are going to be using what I deliver as part of my project, the people who can influence this. Maybe they're regulators or people who are approving things. They're stakeholders to my project. So I have to understand everybody's needs and their desires and their hidden agendas, so I can plan this project to navigate that minefield of conflicting needs and inter-organizational rivalries. I need to understand all that so I can find a safe path to steer my project through to success. So communications and stakeholder management is an extra day on its own as well. Then we have another element on scheduling and cost management. We touch on this in the Project Management Essentials, that first 3 days, but then we drive much deeper because it's a very core important skill for PMs, a very foundational skill. So we have a whole extra dedicated day diving deeper into scheduling and cost management. We have an extra day on risk. Again, this is touched on in the PM Essentials, but we drive much deeper into risk management as well, because, things go wrong. Things don't always turn out like you expected. So risk management helps us anticipate some of that and get ahead of these issues, get ourselves prepared to succeed. And lastly, there's an extra day on change, because again, things change, things happen. You get a new executive with a new vision. They want to take the project into a new direction. You have stakeholders who might change with different hidden agendas. You have team members who might leave in the middle of the project, and you get assigned new team members with a different skill set. Change is a regular part of life, technology-driven change. Look at COVID, what that did to our world, and the change it throughout our projects. So we'll have an extra day just on how to deal with change within the project environment as well. So that's these extra 5 days. So we're up to 8 days now of the 9-day program. These are all, we'll call them mandatory courses. You have to do PM Essentials first as a prerequisite, and then the next 5 courses, those extra 5 days, you can take them in any order, but they have to be covered. And then we have some options. You get 1 extra day that's an option, and you have 3 choices. This allows you to tailor the program a little bit to your world. The first one, the first option is, it's an elective, is called Defining and Managing Project Scope. This is used in, this would be helpful for projects where it's hard to define what hard for stakeholders to define what they want, because you're building something intangible, like a new process or policy or something that's hard for people to visualize exactly what that's going to look like. Typically not an issue in construction projects. Construction projects, I usually have an architect and they can clearly define the building and what it looks like. But on some projects, like maybe a software project or an IT project, we're trying to come up with a system to help automate our new operations. But what that system looks like, I can't really define yet. We're going to have to explore and discover along the way what we can do, what it looks like. That will be defined during the project. So for projects like that, this defining and managing project scope one would be very helpful to help us tailor it to those kinds of issues. Construction projects, the scope's usually pretty clear, but our challenge is we have a lot of vendors, each one coming in doing a little piece of the work, and they all have uniquely negotiated contracts with different penalty clauses and terms in them. So we have another option for those kinds of projects that are heavily vendor and procurement driven, and that's an extra 1-day elective on procurement and contract management. This gets into some of that business side, the business skills that I talked about earlier in the talent triangle, understanding a little bit about contracts and contract law and some of the procurement stuff as it affects the projects. So that's that extra element for those types of projects. And then there's a third one that's just more generic. If you don't really fall into either of those two categories, we have a more generic elective that you could take on project closeout best practices, which defines the special things that need to be done to wrap up a project and get people's final sign-offs and approvals, and how do you legally and financially close out the project, how do you do your continuous improvement activities, how this all fits in together in the grand scheme of things. And that's the project closeout best practices program. Now, so each of these, if you take the PM Essentials for 3 days, you take those extra 5 one-day courses in the middle, and you choose one of these electives along the bottom, you've now completed the requirements for the 9-day program. And in case you're about to ask the question, because I've been asked in the past, yes, you can take more than one elective if you wish. You'd sign up for that extra course. However, it's not needed for the certificate. If you've already addressed one of the electives and all the other 8 days, you've achieved the certificate. But if you really feel you want to take one of these extra electives on top of the certificate, you can do that as well. And at the bottom of the page, there's a link you can go to find out more about the certificate program and the details and when it's available and the costs and how to sign up and things like that. So this is the general overview of the Advanced PM Certificate Program. I'll take questions at the end, so just let me carry on with a few other points. Now, there's other courses in project management offered at the university that aren't part of the certificate program. One of them that we heard was PMP Exam Prep. So we talked about PMI, the Project Management Institute, that international standard setting body on project management. They have a professional certification. You can earn your PMP designation. You actually get those letters after your name. And PMP stands for Project Management Professional. This is almost the de facto standard in North America for the credential you need to work as a senior project manager in the field. Often you'll see in the job postings, must have PMP or equivalent. So it's really a highly recognized, highly valued certification that you can get to help you get jobs in the PM profession here in North America. Internationally, there may be other certifications you might look for as well if you want to work overseas. But in North America, this is it. You pretty much need your PMP to work as a PM throughout your profession. You may not need it to start, but pretty quickly you want to work towards it. So University of Windsor offers PMP Exam Prep course. It is 5 days or 10 half-day sessions. It's intense. There's a lot of content in there, but they got to get you ready to pass this professional exam. The next session starts January 10th, 2024. And it runs Wednesday evenings from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, I believe, and then Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it'll be Wednesday, Saturday, so 2 classes a week for 5 weeks, essentially. Although if it falls over, I don't think there's any holidays in there, so I think you just go straight through. But if there ever is a holiday, they just skip that day. So Wednesdays and Saturdays, so 10 to 2. So it's going to start late morning and finish early afternoon. All these times are Eastern Standard Time. So those are the times for the PMP Exam Prep. There's other certifications you could get too. Another one is the Certified Agile Project Manager. If you're just going to be working on Agile projects and you really want to focus in these Agile projects and the skills needed to succeed in this Agile environment, there's a 3-day course or 6 half days online for Certified Agile Project Manager. Now, you already took the 1-day Intro to Agile Project Management as part of the Advanced PM Certificate Program. If you did, this overlaps a little bit. In fact, the Intro to Agile Project Management is roughly equivalent to day 1 of the Certified Agile Project Manager course. So if you're interested in getting that Certified Agile Project Manager, those extra 2 days of content are very valuable. You also get the letters Cert APM after your name, And the title, Certified Agile Project Manager, that title alone has gotten people jobs in the past just from having it, because it made them stand out and showed they had the agile skills that employers are looking for. Agile's a hot area. Agile project managers are in very big demand right now, so it might be a career option you're looking for. So if you're interested in taking this certification, get your name on the interest list, contact the school, get on the interest list. They get enough people, they'll run a course session. Now, let's talk about this PMP in just a little bit more detail, the project management professional. You can't just get certified by taking a course. There are some requirements. So one option is if you have a 4-year university degree, you need 3 years or 36 months experience working in a project environment, either leading projects or working as part of a project management team, and 35 hours of training. Well, our certificate program or even the PMP Exam Prep course would more than cover the 35 hours of training, so you don't need to worry about that. But you are going to need the experience, right? You're going to need the 36 months or 3 years of managing projects or working in project management type roles to qualify to write the exam. There's another option though. If you don't have a university degree, as long as you got a high school diploma or equivalent, but then you need 60 months of experience or 5 years of experience leading projects. So remember, there's an experience requirement here before you can go write that exam. The exam's 4 hours, 200 questions, and it's a combination of question formats. We highly recommend you take this course. Do not take this exam cold, because it's the pass rate of people who have not taken exam prep course is very low. Now, the PMP Exam Prep course from Windsor, University of Windsor, is actually created by PMI, created by the exam body, the Project Management Institute, to help people prepare for the exam. You can't get better than the people who created the exam creating a course to prepare people to pass the exam. And that's the actual course that's being delivered to prepare you for the exam. Exam has questions across all 3 areas. The leadership questions, the people questions, is 42% of the exam. The process questions about the technical aspects of doing project management is half the exam. And there's a few questions about business environment, not too many because everybody's business context is different. The questions they mostly ask are related to ethics. Now, also across all of these 3 areas, half the questions are going to be Agile related. That's why we made that Intro to Agile a core part of the certificate program. Everybody needs to know a little bit about Agile. And the questions will be a combination of multiple choice, animated questions where there's a little video scenario and animations, and then you have to answer questions based on what you just saw. And then there's drag and drop questions. So connect this with the, connect this process with the output of that process, questions like that, or put these things in order where you got to drag them into the correct order, those kinds of questions. So that's the structure of the PMP exam. Now, for those of you who cannot meet the requirements for the PMP exam, you don't have 5 years and a high school diploma, 5 years of experience, or 3 years of experience with a university degree, then there's another option. The Project Management Association of Canada, Canada's national project management body, created their own designation called Certified Project Coordinator, or CPC. The design point of this certification is it's designed for people just entering the profession to give them a credential to get started in the field. Often we'll have project managers assigned to a project, and reporting to that project manager is like a junior project manager or an assistant project manager, and that role is often called a project coordinator. You can see lots of job ads posted for project coordinators online. It's an in-demand field. There's a shortage of PMs and project coordinators in Canada right now. So if you're in this area or want to get into this area, there's plenty of opportunity. Now, the Certified Project Coordinator, again, is there to give you a credential so you can get that first job as an assistant PM so you can earn your 3 years experience and then go write your PMP exam. It's the one to get you in the game. Or if you're a new immigrant who've come from overseas and maybe you have a foreign credential that isn't really recognized by employers in Canada, it should be fairly straightforward for you to get this certified project coordinator certification, so that you can then use that as a Canadian credential to help you get a job. You earn the initials CPC after your name should you get the certification. If you complete the Project Management Essentials course, which is that starting 3-day course in the Advanced PM Certificate Program, if you complete just that one course, you are then already qualified to get your Certified Project Coordinator designation. Whether you complete the Advanced PM Certificate from Windsor or not, you've at least met the requirements to get this certification. And the next Project Management Essentials course that University of Windsor has scheduled starts January 31st. And it runs Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then another Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it runs in the mornings, first half of the day, on January 31st to February 9th. So complete those first 3 days. You can already write an exam and get a credential that'll help you get a job. And then you can continue on and get the full certificate program that backs you up even more for that job. And after you've gotten a job and accumulated some experience, you can go eventually and get your PMP, but take the PMP Exam Prep course first. The exam for Certified Project Coordinator has 2 parts. The first part is a knowledge assessment. It's a multiple choice exam. They give you 2 hours to answer 40 questions. That's a lot of time for those questions. So you've got lots of time, because English is not always everybody's first language. So they give you plenty of time to really think about the questions and understand the questions and then answer the question. Once you've passed the multiple choice exam, then there's a part 2 is a skills demonstration. They're going to give you a case study that describes a project management situation and then asks you to demonstrate your PM skills by creating project management deliverables that will help you solve the problem in the case study. And those deliverables, we teach you how to do those in the Project Management Essentials course. We even provide you templates as part of that course as well that you could use to go and complete that skills demonstration should you wish to. And the cost of the exam is $200 a person. The cost of the PMP exam, I think, is $555 per person, but it depends on whether you're a member or not. In PMI, the price changes. So we're just giving you some idea, and those are extra. They're paid directly to those associations. And our Agile Project Management course, that 3-day course, if you want the Certified Agile PM designation, it's a 2-hour exam, 40 multiple choice questions. Again, lots of time to write the exam for just 40 questions. That's a generous amount of time. It's $150 a person, and it's all multiple choice. Okay, I've answered or provided the formal information I wanted to. I'm open to taking questions now about the program.
Thank you, Kevin. So I guess just one thing that I would like to note about the courses that are offered through continuing education, through Procept, they are all eligible for the OSAP microcredential application. So if you are looking for temporary assistance with some of the course fees, you are welcome to pursue an application. And we have some information on our website, continue.uwindsor.ca, that will give you a link to the application page. Additionally, if you are an employer and you would like to send employees into one of these programs, then this does also qualify for the Canada-Ontario Jobs Grant that can help employers cover some of the course fee
up to 86%.
To send your employees. There you go. So yeah, so it's really helpful if you are an employer, you want to send your employees to look into that as well. And we have some information. Just email us at continue@uwindsor.ca. I'll put it in the chat. And we can send you the information for that, and we'll connect you to someone that can help you with the application for that as well.
Excellent. Thank you. I just have one more funding source to mention as well. Windmill microlending is available for immigrants to Canada. You don't even have to be a new immigrant. Even an older immigrant who's looking at a career change or a job upgrade, they can make funds available to you to help you get them if you need money to help you do the training to do a career transition or get a job. They're more than happy to help you as well. They work with Bank of Montreal, and a few other banks are behind them to make sure they have no shortage of money. They have a shortage of applicants. So if you're interested, but you do pay interest. It's a low interest rate, but you do pay interest on that if you're interested in working with them. And Procept also offers some subsidies as well for people in financial need and students. If you are a full-time student and you're looking to get a project management credential, we have some bursaries, we have some scholarships. So the Farndale scholarships, for example. So please reach out to us as well. There is sources of funding if you need it.
So we do have a question that came in. Do you have a published outline for these different pathways? So just what Kevin has outlined here, we will be posting this on our website, so you can refer back to this. Kevin, are there any other resources that you suggest that people can look into these different certifications?
Yeah, absolutely. There is information on the university website, certainly. If people want to go there and try and get there's descriptions of all the courses and everything else. But I have something as well. I'm just going to take a link here. I'm just trying to find it, and I'll post it in the chat window. Just give me a second. No, I don't have it quickly handy to me. But Procept also has a page describing the program and giving you links to all the descriptions of all the courses and the learning objectives for the courses and the prereqs, and describing the some of the courses. We have testimonials from people who've completed the course in the past. Some of them have little video clips giving you a summary or a highlight or an overview of the course. So we do have some additional resources. I'll get that link out to you after this event, maybe, and you can send it out. I don't have it quickly available, Sue.
No problem. I will definitely distribute that once we have
Yes.
it. Regarding the requirements for the certificate program, what advice do you have to help us find opportunities where we can gain experience in leading projects? And I guess, Kevin, too, if you want to elaborate on what qualifies as experience, project management experience.
Sure, thank you. The Project Management Institute is purposely vague on this topic because the definition of a project is very open, right? So they define a project as any initiative that you undertake to achieve some outcome or some result that has a start and end date and is not something you've done 1,000 times before. It's something unique to you. So if you've ever planned a wedding, that was a project. That was probably a big, long project. And all the hours you went towards planning your wedding would count towards as your project management hours. Similarly, planning a trip would be part of managing a project. You know, if you've ever worked as part of a team at work and some of your job was estimating how long something would take or how much it would cost, that would be a project management skill set that you could include in your accumulated hours of experience. So what they're looking for, if you got a degree, is 3 years. If there's no degree, 5 years. But they're looking for that many years of experience, and you can add that up by a whole bunch of projects. I've done this for so many years. I've worked as an assistant to the department head, and I was involved in planning the annual budgets each year. Well, budgeting is a project management skill. That time that you spent doing the annual budgets could be accumulated towards your 3 years of experience. Organizing people, leading, motivating people, heading a team, organizing meetings, all that stuff would count. So often, once you look at what the definition of these project management skills are, many people realize just their regular job, even though they weren't a project manager, they've been doing some little bits and pieces of this, and they can probably scrape together the 3 years worth of examples.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, I want to just add one more thing though. If you're worrying about the PMP, I would suggest get the PM Essentials course, get those formal PM skills, then maybe get the certified project coordinator designation. Now you've got a project management like credential to give people the confidence to assign you a real project to manage. And then you can accumulate some formal project management experience leading actual projects as well. And there's so many nonprofits and church groups and volunteer organizations and everybody just desperate for volunteers to help them. You could volunteer to manage some project for them part-time, their annual picnic, their fundraising campaign, their help organize your kid's school play. You don't have to be the stage manager, but you could manage the project. And before you know it, that counts as your project management experience, and you can accumulate those hours very quickly.
Good point. Thank you, Kevin. A follow-up question for this was, for undergrad students, what courses would you recommend for us to prepare for a PM role?
So, I mean, aside the courses we've obviously talked about, the PM Essentials is, I think, essential, right? You need at least that to understand the project management world. But if you're asking what undergrad courses to take, like academic courses, certainly any of the general business courses would be helpful to understand general business and budgeting and planning and things like that would be very helpful. Certainly, I would always recommend a course on, if there is something on presentation skills, public speaking, communications. Often they have something in the creative writing department on business writing. There's usually a course available on business communications or business writing, report writing. They have different names for it at different schools. That's very helpful in this profession. Often there's courses on leadership that you can find either through the business school or sometimes they're through social sciences. You can find courses on leadership. So just keep your eyes out and see what's available in your school that you might be interested in. And I do want to suggest project management is a great career. I've been a PM for over 30 years. It's been fun. It's been fascinating. It's been highly rewarding. There's a shortage of PMs and we make a lot of money. I mean, a starting PM, I think the starting wages for a full PM, not a project coordinator, but a full PM, I think right out of school, not a lot of experience. You start at 80K or 90K. It's roughly the going rate. And PMs are like regular PMs, 120, 130, and executive and senior PMs. Well, I was a executive PM at IBM. I worked there 15 years. And you can make, north of a couple $100,000 a year easily. So it all depends on your field. In construction, you get paid a little bit differently than in IT, et cetera, but there's lots of opportunities there. And the Project Management Institute, PMI, publishes a salary survey, and they make it available for free on their website. So if you go to pmi.org and you search under publications, you'll find their salary survey, and you can see what PMs make in different fields and different geographies. It may be interesting to you.
Great answer. If one took Project Management Essentials, would that be sufficient to write the PMP exam or require additional courses? All attendees in this scenario have years of experience leading projects.
So the PMP exam requires you to have 35 hours of formal project management training. So that is basically 5 7-hour days, 5 full days of training. And that PM Essentials is only 3 days of training. So if you've got 2 other days of project management training formally somewhere in your past, then you've accumulated the 5 hours. But if you haven't, you probably need another couple days of formal training to meet that need. So you don't have to complete the whole certificate program if you've already got experience and you want to go for it. I would really, really recommend the PMP Exam Prep course, though. The chance of passing the exam is much, much lower if you don't take that course. It teaches you how to pass the exam. It's not teaching you project management. It's teaching you PMI's view and their angle and their spin on things. And it goes through hundreds of sample exam questions and sample problems to help you get prepared to pass that exam.
And the PMP Exam Prep course also meets that 35-hour.
It does. It's 5 days
requirement as well.
Yeah,
so
it is 5 days. Yeah.
Yeah. we can return to the session. Yes, so we will be posting this recording on our website. We'll also be emailing it out to our registrants as well. So to everyone here, you'll receive a link to the recording. One thing I wanted to touch on too, Kevin, if you could, is the PDUs
Yes.
that are required and that you can accumulate through these courses as well.
Yeah, so PMI requires you to accumulate certain number of hours of professional development, ongoing professional development, in order to maintain your certifications. So once you get the PMP, for example, or its junior version, PMI has something called the CAPM, the Certified Associate Project Manager or Assistant Project Manager. It's not as popular as the PMP, and honestly, I haven't mentioned it up until now because it's not that recognized in the marketplace. Employers aren't really looking for a CAPM that often, so I haven't really stressed that. But there is a junior version of the PMP if you wish, but the Certified Project Coordinator is much cheaper and easier to get. I would just deal with that if I were you. But any of these PMI certifications, to maintain them, you need these ongoing credits. They call them PDUs, or Professional Development Units. They just like acronyms, PDUs. But it's just hours of additional formal training. And you can get them from any of the PM courses that we're offering through the certificate program. Each one-day course offers you 7 PDUs per day. So if it's a 3-day course, like the PM Essentials, that's 21 PDUs. All those extra one-day courses, an extra 7 PDUs each. And different PMI certifications require a different number of PDUs to maintain them. The most is the PMP, which requires 60 PDUs every 3 years. So it's roughly 20 a year to maintain your certification. So they're forcing you to continue improving your skills and stay current as you continue. Now, all these courses are eligible for those PDUs, but they're also eligible for similar kinds of credits in other organizations, not just PMI. So, for example, if you're an architect, the Ontario Architects Association requires you to take a similar number of continuing professional development hours. This counts. So you're eligible for CEUs, PDUs. Different groups have learning credits. Different organizations call them different things. American Society of Quality, if you have one of their certifications, like you're a certified quality engineer, you can get recertification credits by taking these courses at University of Windsor. If you're a business analyst with the International Institute of Business Analysis, you can maintain your certification and you get your ongoing professional credits by taking these courses. And there's many, many professions. If you're a BOMA certified building manager, you can get recertification credits for taking these courses. So there's lots of professions that would recognize these classes, and they're already approved for these credits. So if you have any questions about, does my profession count? Do I, for my recertification, just send an email directly to me or Sue, and we'll get an answer back to you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, do you know if the Essentials course will be offered again before summer? So yes, so aside from the January 31st start date for the next session, we do have another session starting April 24th to May 3rd. And that is also 8:30 to 12 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 2 Wednesdays, 2 Thursdays, 2 Fridays, starting April 24th to May 3rd. The schedule is also on our website, and we can obviously link that when we send out the recording as well. So there are a couple options for you if you're looking for a later session. One thing as well I wanted to ask Kevin, because we get this all the time, is what is the time commitment outside of class that is required for these?
So generally, we design things so there is no homework. We realize that people have day jobs, they got families to look after. We don't want you to have to sit in a class and then go home, make dinner, and then have to study all evening and after you get the kids to bed and then come back and do it again the next day. That's a little bit too much pressure on people. Often people are in our classes, and then after class, they have to, go back home and finish and do their regular work day, squeeze it all in. It's just too much. So We design it so that all of the content is taught in the class. All of the there's no extra readings or homework for any of these classes, with the one exception being the PMP Exam Prep course, because there are some extra readings and things that you need to do to prepare for that exam. We don't sit there in class and watch you read a book. We'll give you sample exam questions and things like that, but you do need to read this book, and we tell you which sections to read, and it's up to you to fit it in whenever you think you can. So you don't have to do it between night 2 and night 3 of the class. You have to read. We don't force you to do it on any time frame, but you do need to get it done before you write the exam. So you may complete the class and then take 2 months to read the book, and then schedule your exam. The exam is up to you to individually schedule, but other than that, we don't give out homework.
Yeah, so as a student of Project Management Essentials, someone who completed that one, the Essentials course, I could say that it's the tools and the methods that are learned with the content within the course has really helped myself in my current role as a coordinator. Even though I'm not project manager, as Kevin said, I manage a lot of projects on my end as well, in terms of marketing, in terms of coordinating events, in terms of coordinating info sessions. So I use a lot of techniques still from that one Essentials course, and I do plan on continuing on with that in the future too. So are there any other questions? I'm going to put our email and our website here in the chat. If you have any questions, simply email us anytime. We're pretty responsive to that mailbox as well. So yeah, anything you can think of after this presentation, please just email us. We will make sure that we either reach out to Kevin or we'll answer the question as to the quickest of our ability as well. And with that, if there's no more questions, then we can conclude, give you roughly 11 minutes back. So thank you, Kevin, and thank you everyone for joining. I think there's a lot to think about for sure, but appreciate the very well-detailed presentation. So thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll stick around for a little bit, but yeah, whoever wants to leave can go.
I do want to point out that last Tuesday was International Project Management Day. So happy International Project Management.
Happy International Project. Oh, we should have posted something. Oh. So how did you end up, so did you fly to Poland or?
No, it was here. It was done
it was
here.
Okay.
Yeah, they flew people
flew
and this big sword over here. It was quite a surprise.
That's pretty amazing. Love that. But yeah, I loved the Essentials course. It was great. I really, really enjoyed it. And I just really liked being able to meet other professionals that were in the same boat, just, you know, managing projects still, but very informally, you know, without that title, right? And being able to learn those best practices.
Project management skills were so the U.S. president has this thing called I think it's called the Global Economic Roundtable or something like this. It's a bunch of business leaders that they get together to advise the president each year on what to do with the economy and things like that. And they asked them a couple questions every year, like big questions we want you to ponder as a group. And they include like the heads of GM and Apple and General Electric and Toyota and US and like all these different leaders of these major companies come together. And they asked them in the late 90s, what skill set do you see as being most essential for tomorrow's CEOs, the up and coming CEOs? And their answer was project management. They said running a project is like running an enterprise. You have staff, the people working on the project. So you have to have leadership and organizational skills. You have budgeting, you have finance, you have procurement, you have risk, you have legal, you have a little bit of everything. It's like running your own little enterprise in this initiative. Even though the scope of the initiative might be very small, you're exercising all the skills of a CEO. So they said, we think tomorrow's leaders will come from the project management space. And in fact, in almost any job role, project management skills are deemed essential skills, even like school teachers. You're managing school plays and school projects, and the ability to organize and plan your lesson plans and the budgeting of your of what supplies you need for the year, and you're using project management skills all in little pieces throughout your job. So it's an essential grouping of skills.
Yeah, I believe it. For sure. So actually, we have a question. Does this program include all areas of industrial and mechanical engineering work as well, even if there is no experience in project management?
So we don't teach you industrial or mechanical engineering. I do have courses on that, but that's a whole other thing. We teach engineering at the master's level at a number of schools. So yeah, I understand what you're looking for. We do use industrial examples if you wish. We try to tailor it to the class, who's in the class and the questions that you have. And many of our instructors are engineers, are mechanical engineers, professional engineers. So we can absolutely go there if you wish. We have case studies based on plant project engineering and things like that. But it all depends on the questions that are asked in the classroom. And often if you get a mixed group of people, we'll try and use a wide range of examples. So typically in this class, we try to use examples from construction and examples from, I think one of the case studies, Sue, I think if you remember the course, one was constructing a skate park for opening a community center. So we had to renovate the community center and build a skate park. So there's a construction example. And then there's another case study that's used in parallel with the group of the class that doesn't want to do the construction project. There's another one doing event planning about managing an opening ceremony event. And that's just in one of the courses that we have these multiple case studies used, depending on the nature of what people want to do. But we also have some on, opening health vaccination clinics and community policing activities and all kinds of case studies that we can insert depending on who's in the classroom and what their interests or needs are. So we try and match you up based on your background with the kinds of examples that we use. Hope that helps.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Cool. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, we did do the skate park one, and honestly, for me, like even someone who is marketing and not in construction, I was able to actually like the WBS exercise that we did. All of those are helpful to me now. As well. So it's great, good content, aside from all of the certification and everything, is just good content to know about for sure. Okay. So I think with that, we can log off, and appreciate you staying on, Kevin. Thank you so much again. And this is our annual meeting.
If you get any questions, just email them out to me and I'll respond as quick as I can.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day.